Hey everyone, Frugal Panda here. I just made a video. I thought I'd make another one real quick since I'm on a roll. Things I wish I had not known, but I would have thought about a little bit better before my last trip when I went on my road trip to Washington and Oregon. I thought I'd planned it really well. I've been planning it for months and months, but you only learn sometimes by just doing things. So I took a Chevy Volt this time, which is a smaller hatchback, but it's the type that you can be up to 6'4" and lay straight away in it in the back with the seats down. And all you do is pop out the bottom seat cushions. They just pop right out and it lays straight flat. There's no humps or anything. So I would not have taken my bike. And the reason being is the size of the car. Even though I can sleep in the back with the bike takes up a lot of room. The electric XP, even when it's folded, it still takes up a lot of room because I have that and I have a refrigerator, which my refrigerator was a rock star. It came in handy. I probably ate a lot better on my road trip than I do a lot of times at home because I had yogurts. I had all types of different stuff to eat like that with me. So that was a rock star. But when you're taking a smaller car, think about what you're taking with you a little bit better than I did. So I wouldn't have taken it. I would have taken my scooter. I have a Mercane dual motor 1,000 watt scooter that goes about 25 or so miles an hour, easy. Because it folds up, it's about that wide, probably about that wide. And it folds flat down like this, so it takes up really no room in comparison to the bike. And then also in some places, the scooter would have been a lot more convenient because I want to go into a store. I always worry about my bike even locking it up. But with the scooter, honestly, if I'm going to say a Whole Foods, I grab a cart and fold it up and sit it down in there while I'm going around doing my shopping. I know my scooter's with me the whole time. So anyway, that was one of my main things was that. I also cut my trip short. So I left on the 5th. I can't remember the date I got back now, August 5th. And I stayed probably about 14, 15 days. And I took like a month off from work, basically. I didn't go back to work till the 29th. And I think my last day I worked was the 2nd. So I burned up a lot of vacation days, which is not a big deal on that. I don't care about that. That's what they're for. But I did not stay the whole time. I probably came back about a week or 8 days or so early because what I started realizing with the car is I started missing the van with the car. So I had all this money because I saved a bunch of money for this trip, just specifically for this trip. And I think I made a video about talking about how I found out about like donating plasma too. And so I donated plasma. They had we were running something where you got like an extra $1,000 or so for donating plasma in a month, like eight times. So I was like, oh, why don't I do that too to make some more extra money? Anyway, I made like altogether right before I left, $1,200 for my vacation, just donating plasma for an hour at one of the plasma places. So it was like, wow. Yeah, that was nothing down the street from my house. I went there. I had never done it before, but it was $1,200 for my vacation. So anyway, and then I had all the money I saved for the vacation. So I still had quite a bit of money left, vacation fund. Then I was like, let's call this trip, call it a day here. I seen so much, and then it got to the point where I wanted to have my family with me. Because I'm like, I've seen all this, man, they got to come back. They got to see all this stuff and more to do in Washington and, Oregon again and all this stuff, but Washington also more so. Not that there's not as much stuff to do in Oregon, not saying that, but we haven't been to Oregon or Washington in 20 some years since we were a really young couple. My son's never been there, and there's things there. And we've been to Oregon 3 times, me 4 times. So I came back with this money and I went out and bought an older Subaru Outback. I had one before. I had an '01 Subaru Outback and I really liked it. And I really regretted getting rid of it back in the day. It was a rock star. So I went out and got another one because I thought I believe it's the right balance of size and also use, but smaller, but also all-wheel drive. Versus my Volt. I still have my Chevy Volt. I still use it. I haven't put gas in it in months going back and forth to work. But for adventures, camping, and all that stuff, Subaru's a Subaru. And so it needs some work done to it. So I've done the tie rod, shocks, all that good stuff. I'm working on all of it myself. I can do mostly everything except for engine and transmission. And in those, you know, they'll go. The engines, people say they're super reliable. No, I've had them also with rebuild engines. Quite a few of them had it. But the thing is, it's not that much to get another engine for one. So anyway, I'm getting that all ready and stuff. And it's one of my projects I really enjoy doing. I bought it for like $2,000 for an 01. And yeah, anyway. So what things I figured out was, okay, if I'm going to bring a compact car like that, be prepared to spend a lot of time in motels if I don't have enough room in there. So taking the bike cut down on me wanting to sleep in the car. Now, when I didn't have the car, and I mean the bike, and I said had my dog in there, we'd hop in the back, cover everything up, go to sleep. It wasn't a big deal. I'd start the car and it'd sit on the battery and start every blue moon for about 30 seconds to a minute and shut off, and air conditioning, heat, whatever we needed. So that's one thing I wish I thought a little bit better, because I probably wouldn't have brought the car. I would have probably we have a Ford Edge, and I would have probably brought the Ford Edge instead for the bike. Now, that's just me. That's me. Some people are cool with that, and also having a cargo carrier on top of your car. I do not have one on the Chevy Volt. You can get them, the adapters for it. It cuts down your miles per gallon, your electrical charge, your range and stuff. So I don't have it. Now I have a roof rack I just put on from one of my other vehicles, my old Subaru, on the newer Subaru I just picked up. And so I'll put a little cargo carrier up there too, to put that stuff, get that stuff out of your car that's not necessarily expensive stuff, but stuff that you shouldn't, you don't need to put in the car, it's just taking up space. It's my dog scratching. He's got, of course, his collar on. So that's one thing I would recommend, having a cargo carrier on there. That would be one good thing to have. So yeah, that's one thing. Trying to have a car with a little better clearance, especially if you're going to the Northwest. I'm not talking about huge clearance, but making sure. I had a Chevy Volt. Chevy Volt sit pretty low, but a little more clearance to go down a lot more trails and stuff. That's why I got the Subaru. I'm watching really hard. I'm debating on the Ford Maverick. I'm watching the Ford Maverick and thinking about that. So there's a possibility I pick one up next year. I spec'd one out with what I want. $23,000 front wheel drive. It's got enough clearance for me. I don't need all wheel drive. I need front wheel drive with good clearance. You can make up for all wheel drive in a front wheel drive car or vehicle if it's got good clearance and you've got good tires on it. Been there, done that many times. I'm not trying to do any rock crawling or anything. It's just getting through places without bottoming out and having some recovery straps. That's it. But I like it's in a pickup. It's a pickup, and I could have my my bike in the back. I can have my scooter in the back. I have all my stuff in the back and still get like 40 miles to the gallon in it. And also if you get the right bed cover for it, the type that you can't break in. I mean, you really have to really try. You're good to go. And it has charging ability in the back too. That's the other thing. It has all the plugins and stuff, regular plugins. So that's some things I learned on this trip. And regardless, I came back early once I realized I'd seen enough that I didn't want to see anymore without my family with me, at least this time. And I came back and bought the Subaru to fit my needs, just in case I don't get the Maverick, or I get the Subaru in the condition I want it to be in, that I might take off again or go down to Moab or go wherever and take the little Subaru. But like I like about the Outback is you can lay it flat too in the back, but it's got a lot more room, of course, than my Chevy Volt, but it's all-wheel drive, and it also has the clearance of like a Cherokee, which is plenty, and it's all-wheel drive all the time type of thing, and it gets okay gas mileage, decent gas mileage. Not the most powerful vehicle, but it keeps going. They keep going and going and going, especially if you take care of them. And like I said, it's a $2,000 project. I put about $500 into it, maybe about $600 because I put new tires on it. But I've done everything else: tie rods, shock or struts, did the tune-up, new plugs, all that stuff. Did it all myself. Probably saved a couple thousand already. So that's basically it, guys. Just go check out these places. Think about what you're going to do for your vacation, how you want to live it. I mean, how you want to do it, and then go back and analyze it and maybe make a list. And maybe what I should have did was actually, which I don't hardly do anymore, get a piece of paper and write down, okay, this is the pluses, this is the negatives, and trying to figure out, okay, if I do this, or if I take this on this trip, is it going to impact me? If I had wrote down that the electric XP would impact me in regards to room I have in the back, I probably would have thought it a little clearer and not brought it, and I would have brought the scooter. Because the scooter, like I said, I can easily hop in the back. With the electric XP, you got to slide past it when you're trying to or be stealthy, slide past it, versus the scooter sits on the side and just hop right in the back. So that's one thing about it. Think about external cargo carriers too, whether it's on your roof or whether it's a hitch one. Of course, this Volt doesn't have a hitch. I've had others where I went on huge trips, especially with the kids. When I had a lot of kids, when all my kids were young, I carried one of those huge locking boxes in the back on my hitch carrier, and it took so much stuff. All our stuff was basically in that, and you just lock it up and do that, all that good stuff. So anyway, it's just some things I thought about and things that what I want to do, next time I go on a trip. So what I'm looking at right now, potentially, if the Subaru, I'm not planning on getting rid of the Subaru. I really like having a little project car. I always like having an older car to work on and mess with and get it up to snuff, me doing stuff on it. It is the Ford Maverick. It's a $20,000 pickup. It's not a truck. Truck is chassis on, body on chassis. I've had plenty of trucks. It's a pickup. It's a pickup bed, but it gets 40 miles a gallon. It's a hybrid. It has a large enough battery. You can charge all types of stuff. It's 20 grand. Specs I wanted, 22. $22,000. That, looked at a Honda CR-V. Right now, with the prices, what they're at right now, I'm not willing to spend that much for a CR-V or a RAV4. Currently, I'm trying to be more frugal in my life. So I want things to fit my needs, but I ain't trying to impress anybody. I also am looking at a VW ID4. All-wheel drive. That's an all-electric SUV, especially if Tesla opens their superchargers, because you can lease them. And leasing them, they're a lot cheaper. I don't plan on buying one. I'm done buying $50,000 and $60,000 vehicles. I've had plenty of them, and honestly, it's just a waste of money for the most part, and I'm just being honest about it. But leasing one for 3 years with a 15,000 mile a year allowance that you get is plenty for me, especially because I always have 2 vehicles. For me to do so many trips with it. And if Tesla opens their superchargers, it can charge in 30 minutes. That's cool with me. I'll use it. I'll get one. So I'm also looking at that too. So anyway, just my thoughts and things I've been going through my head about what I want to do and my next trips and all this stuff. I plan to go back to Washington State, Oregon, and California, Northern. I didn't go because of the fires. My oldest son is actually deployed now in the South Lake Tahoe area, I think it is, fighting those fires out there. But I knew about all the fires, and I was had to go through Paradise and all those areas, and you don't know what's going on a lot of times. So I skipped it and went the other way, but I do plan to go back because I want to go through the Bay and do all that, go through California coast that way. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I really appreciate everyone that tunes in. Have a good day.